There we go. Nice. All right, welcome back to the Larry Coyote Show. Here, let me get the lighting. Woo! I think this actually is helping me. So, oh shit, yeah, it's somewhat helping me. Okay, cool. So, welcome back to the Larry Coyote Show. Been up since 4:30, 4 a.m. I was in the shower at 4:30 a.m. Out the house by 5:30. At work at 6, and that's 2 hours earlier than I even need to be working. So the kid stays driven, for sure. And not to get distracted, but I like my weekdays now. I like them a little more than the weekends, and one big reason is that the stock market is closed on Saturday and Sunday, so it doesn't feel like your money's working for you if you're invested in stocks, for example. And then during the week, it's kind of like not only are you working, your money in the stock market is churning away as well, and it's going up, going down. Long term, if you zoom out, it should have like a upward trajectory nonetheless, provided it's a successful company. Why is it getting hot? Shit. Um, Try to be fucking cute with the hot tea and shit. And wait, I got AC. Almost forgot. All right. I got AC. I don't need to suffer, but I try to not use AC because I think that the sweating is actually an important part of your physiology. That's how you get out your toxins. I don't know anything about health, but I'm pretty sure I know that much. Tell me if I'm wrong. And let's see. I don't want to get too distracted, so I try to. I got a little roadmap. Let's see. New developments. I should mention this right off the bat because I think it's important. I like it. Keeping with my ethos of always being better than the last and improving on the next. You can see I'm renting ad space. So this thing is actually one. It's a killer deal. Like because the videos aren't really supposed to go down. This is episode 3. Um, the next few episodes are going to be very cheap to rent that space, put your name there. And I don't intend to ever take them down or erase them unless YouTube or somebody censors me or something happens. Like that's not my intention. I don't want to promise. But the idea is that if you spend a couple bucks um, and this thing keeps moving forward, then your thing is probably going to stay there until the end of time, which the starting price is $10. So for $10, that goes a long way. And I know that a lot of you people who have ideas, things you want to start, businesses, accounts you want to promote, I think you see the vision, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Um, yeah, it sells itself, to be honest with you, because your name here is literally your name there. So for if you cash at me or PayPal me $10, you're literally going to stay there. We're at 100 and like 120 views on video 1, and we're like at 90, almost 100 on video 2. This will be video 3. It hasn't even been a week. It hasn't even been 7 days, and we're already triple digits, or close to it. So the way things snowball and the way momentum works, compound interest, if you're talking money, things tend to grow on themselves. So if you look at the one-time $10 fee, that's it. Drop it and leave it. That's a drink at a club, that's two drinks at a bar that you can easily spare if you have something that you want to try to promote. So I don't really want to stay dwelling on this too much. I really think it sells itself. Just know that $10 PayPal or Cash App, Larry Coyote. That's not as good as I thought it was going to look. I'll have to fix that. It's Larry. It says Larry Coyote there. You can PayPal or Cash App me the $10. Tell me what you want to write there. But I'll note that if somebody wants to kick you off of that pedestal and sends me $20, then one of two things happen. That means that you are then relegated to the next episode, or I send you your money back if you want to ask for that. So either one works for me, but I'm looking at it like if I do once a week, there's 52 weeks in a year, $10 a podcast as a starting point, because it's probably going to go up at some point. So know that. Get in now at 10. So if it's at 50, you're like, oh, fuck, man, I could have done it for 10. But anyway, I'm sticking to 10 because it's easy to do the math. 52 weeks in a year times 10 is $520 in 1 year, cash. That sounds really good to me. It's not something doesn't sound bad at all, and it doesn't really take a lot of effort on either side, yours or mine. So keep that in mind. Keep that in the back pocket. I know there's a lot of business people, good friends of mine, that actually want to come in anyway and talk about a myriad of things. I already have a short list in mind. That should be you first. So yeah. So start now. And anyway, the benefits will multiply. So okay, I won't dwell on it too long. Let me keep it pushing here. Let's see. I talked about the developments, the Cash App, that price, all that makes sense. Um, Let me see. Why am I starting the podcast? I hung out with a bunch of friends. I was asked about the podcast. Why did it occur to you to do this? What's the reason behind it? Now there isn't one big compelling reason. I think three I gave five different people five different answers because I didn't have one good answer, I guess. But I wrote a few down and I'm going to share them with you. Um, a lot of this has to do with why I'm doing this has to do with I have a pretty successful career. I like what I do. I like my profession, and I enjoy what I do. One of the reasons I look forward to Mondays and my weekdays is I'm about action. I'm about producing things and making things happen. And on the weekends, I'm about trying to rest. So that's the short version. But so I'm pretty successful in what I do, but it's very niche, and it's this is one way that I am going to try to organically uh, grow my professional business contacts, grow within my profession, which is it's a building sales job, and keep that going. So build on those successes, and then try to explore other different new opportunities that might present themselves. Um, for me, for you, I think to me, it only mostly makes sense that I try to make you money somehow, whether that's telling you something that saves you money or telling you something that makes you money. Both equal the same. Um, at the end of the day, is money in your pocket. So that's kind of like the reason that you should have. The reason I have is similar, but just to expand on that is, I'm a professional during the day. I want to continue doing that. I'm looking for other avenues to explore that can possibly bring in an additional level of success, because I'm kind of at a glass ceiling where I need to do a breakout of some sort, and I think this is a good reason. And a lot of friends have approached me about podcasts, helping podcasts. I'm not the podcast expert, as you can see. I have no equipment yet, but it wasn't lost on me that it's a good idea to keep exploring. So anyway, so maybe if any of you guys, if you guys want to get me to act in a short film, check me out. Look at my profile. Tell me what you think I could do. Um, I think I could be a cholo. Truthfully, I don't look the part right now, but I can be. Uh, Goatee, bandana, beanie. I think I can do it. I think I can do more. Um, so anyway, so let me know if you have any acting opportunities or anything else. The other reason is like there's a bunch of people doing a bunch of podcasts out there, getting views, some a lot, some not so many. But I look at them and I'm like, that's fucking lame. I can do better. I think my friends are cooler than your friends. I can talk. That's one of the things. I mean, I talk for a living already, so why not, right? Um, so you know, entertainment, content, um, are two big motivators for me. So hopefully I can do that. Uh, let's see. Oh, the title head of the video is boxing. So let's move on to boxing. Actually, if anybody knows, please leave me comments on how you think the Lakers are going to do. I know they made some big moves. Magic left. Jeannie is not. I think she needs all the help she can get. She's not her dad, and they made some big moves. I think LeBron James is. A lot of people were saying, if his body holds up and he doesn't bust a Kobe at in the last 3 years, we can maybe really make some waves. So I know they made some big power moves. People are excited. So, question: do the Lakers make playoffs? One. Do the Lakers make finals? Two. I think I can safely say yes to one. I can't speak to number two. Okay. Arthur, I got a live. I guess this is my first live viewer. I got a resounding yes from Arthur Dog Z. Okay, so I guess Lakers. Arthur, is that yes to playoffs or yes to finals? Anyway, let me know. But there's a yes already, and I think people want okay, yes to playoffs. The finals is a to be determined, but people want to know. I'm really curious. I've been disappointed last year when LeBron showed up. I was disappointed. Honestly, I've been disappointed for 2, 3 years. I'm not a hardcore basketball fan though, so I'm like one of those guys that will get in once things start getting heated. Like I'm not. I don't watch Stephen A. Smith. I'm not in there all up on the commentary. If they pick one more good player, then final. Okay, got it. So I guess we got a few good players. One more good one. I don't know what that means, and I don't know how the salary cap works out. But one more good player, I guess, would put us in the finals contention. I like that. I appreciate the comment. Thank you. All right, now I got sidetracked. I was going to talk about boxing. It was a busy weekend in boxing. There was a lot of fights. A lot of fights being made, some fights that happened, and we can talk about both. I know Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz have to go at it again this fall. Uh, Andy Ruiz, I believe, is a Premier Boxing PBC guy, and if you know about Premier, Al Heyman really is about getting these guys the top dollar. Not everybody can qualify for that, but he got Ruiz the right advice, which is I will go to England, which I think he's contractually obligated to do anyway. But he said, I'll go to England if they give me 50 million. Smart move. I think they paid him 10 million. I want to say 7 million for the last fight that he won and got all the belts. A year before that, I think they had tried to offer him 40,000 to fight Joshua. Good thing he turned that down. He took the 7 million on short notice, knocked the guy out, took his belts, and now he's going to try to get 50 million to go across the pond, as they would say, and mix it up in the English battle pits. So, smart move. I mean, at this point, they're almost obligated to give him. I don't think he got the Snicker endorsement. Arthur Dog saying he got the Snicker, and I haven't seen that, but he probably will, should, or could. Yeah, I mean, he definitely should stop promoting them. If they don't give him an endorsement, he should stop saying that name, because there's no reason to give people free publicity if you're the heavyweight champion of the world. He finally got the Snicker, but he should definitely get one. And if Snickers knows what they're doing, they should probably cut him a monthly check, in my opinion. Yeah. So he'll get the 50 million, and I think that's almost a foregone conclusion because the showdown itself is probably going to gross upwards of 100 million, 150, maybe. Dare I say 200? I think so. And even if he could play hardball, he can say, "Nah, I'm not taking that fight." He could cause a delay. He could do all kinds of things that would really throw sand in the gears of Eddie Hearn, which is the Matchroom Boxing promoter. And I think time is money, so delays are costly, and paying him 50 million probably sounds better than having to wait another season, potentially lost revenue. So um, the fight itself, I don't see it ending any different than it did last time. I think that the fight probably ends with Andy Ruiz knocking him out, unless Joshua manages to survive 12 rounds. I think he wins the rematch simply by surviving 12 rounds because he's going to be in his home turf and in Joshua's home turf. Unless Ruiz actually does get outboxed, which I don't see happening. I think a quote from Ruiz is, Joshua is not good at boxing. He himself is getting very confident about the rematch. Truthfully, he's probably right. I think Joshua started boxing at 18 to 20, 18, 19 years old, went to the Olympics, won a gold medal. When you box at 18 or 19, it's not the same as if you start boxing at like 7. I think Ruiz started boxing at 7, maybe 11 years old, maybe 11 years old. So he has that built-in counter punch memory programmed in his memory bank, like deep in the recesses of his mind. He can be taking incoming fire, and he might know exactly how to fire back and how to give you a counter, how to roll with a punch, how to move your head. Ruiz can probably win this just by doing the same thing he did the second time around. I think the way Joshua wins it, it's a very small chance, and I don't know that I'm going to bet on the second because the odds are probably not going to be as friendly the second time around. They were 100 to 1 if you got the right round for Ruiz. So of course, I sprinkled a few dollars across 12 rounds and made out like a bandit. I think Joshua's going to have to do a Vladimir Klitschko, and I don't say that in a good way. And I think one of the big reasons that the heavyweight division did so bad in the last 10 years was not because Klitschko was so dominant, because he was. It was because Klitschko was so boring at fighting. I'm going to say there's a lot of it's controversial, I guess. A lot of the European fighters are fucking boring. It's not do or die for them. They're tactical technicians, and a lot of the things that Vladimir. Well, another reason was we didn't have an American standout, unfortunately. But Vladimir Klitschko, he utilized a strategy that is probably the worst from an entertainment standpoint, and I think that's why he stayed over in Germany and Ukraine and boxing over there in Europe most of the time. He fought a few times in Madison Square Garden, maybe in Vegas as well. He did a lot of he was 6'7", 6'8", so he did a lot of this punch, 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 back up, punch, 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 maybe a 1-2, punch, punch, 1-2. Did a lot of that while backing up And if by some reason you manage to penetrate through that stiff jab defense, as soon as you got in, you can move it and go in. He'd immediately he'd hold you. He'd fucking hold you with a grip until the ref separated you guys. And the ref, he would hold so much to the point where I think in his last couple fights, they were taking points away because they say, "Hey man, you need to stop You're holding too much. You're not even fighting anymore. You're just jabbing and holding." And people got bored. They were like, "Fuck this! I'm not watching this shit." It wasn't a good heavyweight division, and so Joshua has to be a boring Klitschko if he hopes to win. It's the only way I can see it. The problem with Joshua though is he's not very good at backing up. Um, Klitschko was a move. He could move. He could back up. He could use the ring. Joshua's a come forward guy. Um, and that could spell disaster. So he needs to learn how to back up. He needs to learn how to jab. He needs to learn how to hold. Can't believe it's going to be boring, but that's the only way I can see him winning. So hopefully he doesn't learn any of that. Ruiz stays the champion because he's all action. He's an action fighter. He's going to stay beating people up, mixing it up, doing his damn best, and as long as he rules. So whether that's a short duration or a long duration, you won't see any boring fights from Andy Ruiz as long as he stays in the mix. So anyway, another fight, I think it was Friday, is a DAZN had a Cancio who was fighting a Puerto Rican dude. What's his let's see, Alberto Machado, who is Puerto Rican, and I think he had a belt. This was a rematch. Machado uh, came in as the favorite in the original fight, got knocked out. I think he was one of the few Puerto Ricans that was holding a belt. Um, they thought it might have been a fluke. So Andrew Cancio, who's actually from the desert, he's from Blight, the Pride of Blight, as they call him. Golden Boy fighter. I think they're both Golden Boy fighters, but he had his belt. He came over. Rematch was made. He got knocked out again. So that leads me to another question. Puerto Rico has historically always been one of the juggernauts of boxing, and the rest of the world seems to have caught up with them. They don't have as many. They don't have as many champions or belts, and I don't see it improving in the near future. So I can still, there's always going to be some standout Puerto Ricans, and I think a big reason is the island of Puerto Rico is very small. The population is very small. The the recent storms have caused a depopulation to occur in the island. So a lot of young people are moving away and leaving the island. And I don't know that they're pursuing boxing. So I think there's always going to be Puerto Rican standout fighters, but they're not going to be as dominant, the Puerto Ricans, as they used to be. Um, and I think most of the Puerto Rican champions going forward might come in the form of somebody like Danny Garcia, Gabriel Rosado. They're not going to be the Miguel Cotto from Bayamon, Puerto Rico's that you used to remember, Edwin Rosario, Macho Camacho types. There's not. I don't think we're going to see them. I think we're going to see like the Puerto Rican American hybrids, similar to the way you see Mexican Americans, but Mexico still has, a lively talent pool in the country itself that they import into the country, but they also have a domestic Mexican American champions that are here. Andy Ruiz being an example, Canelo Alvarez being an example of an import from Mexico. So I guess that's a question. Do you see Puerto Rico still maintaining their what do you call it, dominant. Well, not even. I mean, I think the profile. Are they still going to be a force to be reckoned with going forward and in the future? That's a question. Let me know what you guys think. Are Puerto Rican fighters still going to um, are they still going to be attractions? It's a real question. It's kind of a concern, something I've kicked around in the back of my mind. I don't see it. I think you're going to see them, but like Danny Garcia, Gabriel Rosado types. Not that Rosado's like he's actually one of my favorite fighters. He's not a champion per se, but he's definitely a known name. Rocky type, hard luck fighter, blood and guts warrior. Honestly, I like sometimes I like watching the not champions fight more than the champions, especially if they have the profile of having that real warrior mentality. Like ultimately, I'm not the guy that looks for undefeated records as much as I look for entertainment. So, so what do you think? Do you see Felix El Diamante was one of those guys. Felix El Diamante Verdejo. He was a guy that El Papito. What's the other guy? El Papito Vasquez. Those guys like they used to they were prospects, and I don't like using the word exposed, but they ran into a wall, and they took some losses, and they didn't look like they didn't ultimately shine as bright as the hope was, and the way you would have expected based on the promotion and the trajectory that they seem to be on. So those are two guys from Puerto Rico that ultimately didn't manage to break out the way they should have. And Verdejo, El Diamante, he had everything going. He was good looking. I think he's pretty tall. Colgate smile. Muscle, the whole thing. Poster boy. But he didn't manage to break out. So I don't know, man. Like I'm sort of like, did you guys catch that fight? I saw it yesterday, and was a really good fight. What? Hold on. It was a good. It started good. Like it showed a lot of promise. I really thought that he was going to do a lot better, and he came in, started jabbing, saw a lot of body punching. I was like, oh shit, he's hitting him in the body with the fucking bare knuckle. Uh, it was I thought he was gonna beat the guy's ass, to be honest with you, because I said, oh man, one, he's got really fast hands, always has. Not a hard puncher, but he wasn't wearing gloves, so maybe the punch was going to translate into a much harder punch. Hold on, I'm trying to get the guy's name. I don't want to be disrespectful here. Artem Lobov. Okay, Artem Lobov. Yeah, he was throwing him. He was throwing those hands round one, round two, cracking the guy. And all of a sudden, round three, I realized he had stopped throwing punches with his right hand. So I know this guy has broken his fucking hand 5 times, I think. His hands 5 times, and that's why they call him a pillow fisted puncher, because he doesn't have any knockout power, because he fucking imagine shattering your hands that many times. You're not going to keep the same punching power as you had before. So I immediately noticed, like, hey man, this guy's not throwing any more rights. In the third round, I guess it was 3 out of 5 rounds. Um, and I rightfully concluded that yeah, he had broken his hand. And then after the fight, he said, "I broke my hand." And I guess they gave the fight to the other guy, who based on the way Paulie's face looked, probably deserved the win. But I didn't really see him getting touched up too much. Paulie was still able to keep a pretty decent effort. Valiant, maybe, because he fought with one hand. He literally threw one right hand Rounds 3, 4, and 5, only one right punch was thrown. He fought the 60, 70% of the fight with his left, which I don't think is his strong hand. I think he's a righty, so he was literally fighting with a left, just one arm. I guess I'm glad I didn't buy it. It was not a bad showing for him. He was disappointed, rightfully so. He talked a lot of shit. Um, he lost. Probably deserved to lose. Although I think, yeah, if you listen to him talk long enough, you probably, like I did, you probably say, "Oh no, he should have won," because the other guy was missing a lot of punches, but his face didn't look it. So announced he's retiring. Didn't really seem to give the guy that much credit. The bare knuckle boxing seems to have some promise to it, but I don't like that it's only 5 rounds, and I don't like that it's only 2 minutes. That basically means they're fighting for 10 minutes. And you do it's not a lot unless if you can get the knockout rates going up. This was not a knockout fight, then it makes some sense. But if you can't, then what are you doing? Because you're making people pay to watch 5 2-minute rounds, which is the way women's boxing is, 2-minute rounds, which is a total of 10 minutes of action. This didn't have that much action. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I don't know that I want to. I'm not going to go back and watch it any more bare knuckle boxing fights unless it's another guy like that crossing over, the known dude, I guess. So he announced he was retiring. Probably should not have taken the fight. Whatever. Moving on. Errol Spence versus Sean Porter seems to be a done deal. I've been telling everybody who will listen, there's no beating Errol Spence, at least at 147. There is no beating Errol Spence at 147. There's like literally nobody out there who can beat his ass. I think Errol fights, walks around at 160 plus and fights at 147. So he's young and he can lose weight. And he works out really hard and he's naturally talented. Everyone else he's fighting there is probably smaller than he is, not as talented or as strong or as fast. So Errol Spence, he's free money. If you want to keep betting on, I wouldn't bet like the whole bank, but you want to keep dropping dollars on him, you're probably guaranteed to get a good return. As long as he stays at 147, I don't think he's going to be defeated. He's probably going to remain undefeated for the foreseeable future, unless I see something change, like what I saw with with Keith Thurman. But I'll get back to that. So Spence is fighting Sean Porter. Sean Porter is probably top 2 or 3 in that division. So it's good because you got the number 1 guy fighting the number 2 or possibly the number 3 guy. It's a toss up. I think Spence beats Porter. I think Porter makes it interesting. Probably going to be very similar to when Porter fought Thurman, in my opinion. And I think ultimately Spence wins that. Porter is a really good fighter, probably one of the biggest dudes. He's got a linebacker body, very wide shoulders, short, nasty left and right hooks. He throws from angles like that with his big ass shoulders, and he's always like bull rushing in. So he has the ability to like body a lot of people, like bully them. Let's say I don't think he's going to be able to bully Spence, but if he can, he actually might make this an interesting fight. But I have Spence winning, possibly a decision because Porter's probably one of the toughest dudes. But I might be surprised if I see a knockout. I don't expect it, but it would be cool to see. Just because Sean, I'm giving him a lot of credit. Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao. I think I've talked a little bit about that. I found out that the Nevada State Athletic Commission is going to be doing the drug testing for it. It's not going to be VADA. I don't want to get too into it. I think that's okay. I think that's. I don't want to call Pacquiao a cheater. I don't think he's ever been caught. although it is kind of suspicious how his superhuman strength has managed to maintain, and he's 40 now. I think Thurman should beat up Pacquiao. I've been waiting for somebody to beat him up for years, Pacquiao, because not because he's not good, Pacquiao's not good, but he's naturally smaller, and I don't think he has the respect for Father Time that he should. So ultimately, time catches up to everybody, right? Um, George Foreman. I can say names, but Kelly Pavlik, everybody. Time catches up to everybody. Bernard Hopkins, everybody, right? Roy Jones. Who's the guy that got knocked out and almost put in a coma or in a coma? What's his name? Supa Zabjuda. Like ultimately, age will defeat you. So I think that's what should be happening to Pacquiao. But for some reason, people haven't been able to put him away. And I think a lot of it has to do with his speed. His speed hasn't left him. His movement is on point. Thurman should be able to, on paper, put him away. But Thurman's problem is twofold. One is he broke his arm. And I think I want to say he has metal, although he hasn't confirmed it. Want to see he has metal, and it's right in the part that it's like in the shock absorber area that, when you punch, this part is like uh, there's pressure put there, and that keeps you from being able to leverage your hardest punch. So he's got that, which he suffered from having fought a bunch of times. I think he broke it again in his last fight. Well, not his last fight, but his fight with Kell Brook. No, not Kell Brook. I'm sorry, Sean Porter. So he broke that, and then a couple years before that, he had this fancy sports car. He was driving to the gym, and he got in a car accident, and then he tweaked the disc on his back. It took him a couple months to get better and come back and fight, and then came back, fought Porter, broke his arm. Then he took like 2 years, 3 years, went and got married. He literally has been out of the whole scene from being a kingpin at 147. Spence took his spot to just vanishing for 36 months. That's a big deal. That tells me that, and I talked about how Josecito Lopez gave him some work. That tells me that he's probably not he's not 100%. I'm going to say that he's never going to return to being the 100% guy we saw 3 years ago. And he's probably fighting it. He won't say it, but I think he's at somewhere between 60 to 90, maybe 60 to 80% of what his what his peak was, which might be enough for Pacquiao to offset and actually take a win by decision, I think. But we'll see. If he does manage to raise his game back to what he was, then yeah, I definitely think that he can beat Pacquiao. But I just haven't seen it, and there's no reason for me to start assuming that he's going to return to what he was. So anyway, da, 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 da. I think that's pretty much it. Let me see. My buddy texted me a couple things yesterday. I've been going back and forth with a lot of people, but my homie Rudy, which a lot of you guys know, Rudy Driz, was talking about. I think we were just messaging on IG for excuse the dark eyes. It took me off of the lighting, and you know how that does a number on my eye sockets. What was he talking about? Where are you, Rudy? Bear with me one more. Oh, here he is. All right. Oh, I was talking about Polly. Round 3, he started making up his excuse on why he lost, as usual. He got fucked up. He was a pro boxer who was supposed to school this guy. Okay. Backing up all the time. And then he goes on to say, backing up all the time. At one point, holds on because he's going down. All that talking for nothing. Oh yeah, my homie Johnny and Rudy. Well, several people have told me, but mostly these guys Said Anthony Joshua got knocked out during sparring before the Andy Ruiz fight. That's what Rudy says. Johnny told me he got knocked out cold. Like, I guess he closed his eyes. Typically in boxing, if you get knocked out like that, that's considered a concussion, and you're not supposed to fight for at least 3 months after that concussion. Now, that in an official fight, obviously in the gym, things can happen, and you can always come back. And I think I saw Amir Khan get his ass fucking beat, almost knocked out when he was sparring in the wild card gym. He was getting hurt. Um, and he's taking a lot of punishment. He came back, fought, got his ass beat. I can't remember with who now, but yeah, you're not. If you get knocked out, that's considered a concussion, and you're supposed to stay away for at least 3 months because for medical reasons, it's a real danger to your health. So, but if that happens to be, but still, if Joshua was knocked out cold or just knocked out, I guess it could be, you could use it as a reason to say that, oh yeah, Ruiz got the best of him. But no, if you think about it, if you dig a little deeper, Joshua was actually winning that fight against Ruiz. He knocked him down. He was winning. He started winning, and then he started losing. After Ruiz got up, the tides turned. He decided to go in and mix it up, and he did what he does. Honestly, it wasn't a lucky punch. It was nothing like that. He does that a lot to a lot of people. So the fact that he did it also to Joshua just means that he did it to Joshua. That's his MO, is fucking catching people, going forward, throwing like octopus punches from all angles, 10 punch combinations. That's what I like. I hope he stays on top for a while, because I think that's what boxing is going to need to try to resurrect itself and have a dominant heavyweight champion. Is a lot of knockouts. Somebody who's willing to mix it up. Somebody that's willing to come forward. Somebody who's willing to trade punches all the time. That's what boxing needs to be live, to be that Tyson era thing that most people fondly can remember and look back towards. Tyson Chavez, you know what I mean? This is actually, if Ruiz stays on, you get the best of both worlds. You get like a Mike Tyson, Julio Cesar Chavez hybrid heavyweight, all mixed into one. And Deontay is one of my favorite. He's actually one of my favorite fighters too. So nothing bad to say. What does Rudy say here? I was thinking we could follow up on all the underground fighters coming up from the Golden Boy roster. I like that. I like that. And if somebody knows Oscar or the fighters, if you know any, I'm in Santa Ana, so there's a couple fighters here. I think Ryan Garcia trains nearby. If anybody knows him, let me know. I'll pay him to come in and do an interview podcast. I want to promote him, but I don't want to waste. I do not want to waste his time, because how else am I going to separate myself from the competition? Well, take a little money out of my pocket. Yeah, I can't pay him that much, but it's more a sign of respect, saying, "Hey, man, I value your time, and here, come in, say hello." Yeah, from the Golden Boy roster, Velasco Theater in Fantasy Springs. Maybe one day have local boxers from Santa Ana stop by and be. Ronnie Rios is from Santa Ana, and I think he's got a brother as well. I think it's Chimpa, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so if any of you guys know the Santa Ana boxers that have I'm not going to say a major promotional, but I have a promotional contract. I can't just do like the really, really, really unknown guys, because they have to focus on the gym. I think promotion for that should be secondary. Once you're actually established, then the promotion has to go hand in hand. So that's pretty much, I think, really good ideas, Rudy. Definitely should work on that. Definitely should work on getting you here. All my friends will be here eventually. So if you haven't noticed, I'm rambling. This is a very long podcast. It's going to be an hour. And the reason is I want to get some feedback. Like, do we want to do the 5 minute podcast? Do we want to get in depth on topics and do more? Um, so I think we want to get in depth, certainly sometimes, right? So some of these podcasts might be lengthy, and this is a way for me to stretch them out, not with meaningless ramble or filler. I think a lot of what I said is actually applicable, true, and things that you can make a buck off of if you're betting in Vegas. So with that said, let me take a restroom break. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, I'm back. All right, sipping on something light here. I got some teas, got some waters. Learned my lesson last time. I ran out of water right as the podcast was starting. Okay, let's see. I think that wraps up boxing, unless I can find something different. No, no, no. What else is coming up? Let me pivot, I guess, to this is not a politics podcast, but something that's important because it moves the stock market is the G20 summit. The G20 is like essentially the top 20 economies in the world all gather for what's a summit. And, they discuss the world's problems, all kinds of, some people, it's not, I don't consider it conspiratorial. Like some people, to me, it makes sense that the top 20, they have G6, G20, I think G7. Um, it's all these big countries. They meet up and then they talk about the issues that are impacting the world. So that's my point. Is it's coming up. I'm looking at that because I have a lot of my money invested into soybeans right now. And the reason I invested in soybeans is because it hit a 10-year low when Trump started this trade war with China. One of the ways that China retaliated very intelligently was to stop buying soybeans from the United States. And a lot of these states in the middle of the country, they're major producers of soy. So and as you know, um, a lot of these farmers out in the Midwest supported Trump. So it's kind of China indirect way of punching them in the gut and putting them on notice, saying, "Hey, you elected this guy, um, and he's playing hardball with us. Now we're playing hardball with you." So crops are being devastated, and as you know, when something goes down, that's when you need to buy low, sell high, right? Um, and especially when it gets hit by a 1-2 punch. So, as an example, I know a lot of people might get bored, but this is the stuff that could make you some money. So, you really bear with me here. When something gets hit with a 1-2 punch, China, they don't want to buy soybeans. But on top of that, there's been and soybeans feed pigs. Pigs grow and make meat. Uh, and a lot of the pigs, China buys soybeans to sustain their pig farms in China because it's easier to have a pig than to dedicate a whole acre towards growing the soybean, right? So there was a big um, pig infestation, not pig disease, that wiped out a bunch of pork. So pork took a hit. It's like so a bunch of them had to be euthanized, put down, killed, because there was like a flu going on, and that was like the second punch. So when soy went down, it was already on the floor, and then to top it off, it's like kicking you when you're down. The pigs get sick, so then you have to wipe out the population. So the demand for soy collapses even further. And then when that happens, you buy in because that price is not a sustainable price anyway. It eventually has to float back to a rational level in due time, like everything else. So if the G20 summit comes back successful, or even if not, they might say, well, we didn't agree on much, but I got him to agree that he's going to buy some soybeans this year while we continue the negotiations. I'm looking for that. That's all. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for Angela Merkel, who's the leader of Germany, to. I'm looking for her health because about a week or two ago, she started like shaking really bad, like in front of an honor guard when the Ukrainian prime minister had come to visit her for a state visit. They were standing in front of a band and soldiers, and then she just started like twitching. Really really concerning. Um, so I don't know what happened with her, but anyway, it's important. It's not important to your day to day, but it's something that you should at least be aware of. The G20 summit is coming up, and a lot of developments may happen because of it. Iran is going to be front and center. I'm pretty sure the Japanese and the Germans and all of Europe are going to be telling Trump, hey, you need to calm down with that whole Iran thing. You're causing too much trouble. And how him and the Chinese dude hit it off or don't is going to be a big deal in the stock market. Um, I think there's elections. Not that I want to get too into politics, but the elections coming up in 2020. We have 22 candidates in the Democratic field, all of them vying to try to dethrone Donald Trump. A lot of talented people. Their first debate is coming up. I guess I mentioned it because the first debate is finally coming up. It's going to be, you can't fit 22 people on one stage. So what they did is they're splitting it up into 2 days, 11 and 11, one day back to back with the other day. And I don't know that I'm going to watch it. It's probably going to be really long. Ultimately, 80% of these people are going to drop out after the first or second round of voting. So I don't know that I want to hear them. But you should know at least that there's 22 of them, and they're running for the Democratic seat. I don't want to get into, maybe we'll talk about who some of the major names are, but I really don't want to talk politics that much. I just want you to be aware that there's 22 people running for the Democratic seat, and you may want to start looking. I mean, I know about 10 of them, and I got a decent idea. but I don't think it's I don't think it's that interesting yet. Because it's too early. It's way too early to start getting into politics right now. It's 2019. We're halfway through the year. We're a year and a half from election. A lot of people get really excited, but if you're a diehard and you want to send the Cash App, I'll read it. If you fucking want to promote somebody, $5. Don't just send me. I'm not going to be talking about any. I mean, I'm going to talk about people resumes. I don't want to be pushing one person over another, but like say, if you were an old person with health problems, you should probably consider this person. If you're a young person with this, you should probably consider this person. I'll do things like that. I'm not going to be fucking uh, beating the drum, promoting really heavy for one candidate over another, and I haven't made up my mind. Shit. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. So the G20 summit coming up later this week, very important for the stock market and how what direction they're going to move towards. There's a lot of reasons. I don't want to get into too many, but I use soybeans as one example. But I'm locked in at a low price. Let's say that. And if good news arises from the Chinese Trump visit, then we'll see a profit. And if not, then you really once you're on the bottom, you really can't go any lower. So I'm comfortable with where I'm locked in at right now. Da, da, da. And I guess I'm about to wrap it up here, but before I go, we talked about a lot of things. Uh, Advertising, your name here, a lot of boxing, what's coming up, what happened, who's who you should possibly bet on, and what you should be concerned about. I'll probably look at the odds later because to me that's the most important thing that you should use as a starting point. I won some money yesterday when Haiti beat the Dominican Republic. So one of my betting strategies is to try to bet on the underdog while they're losing. By that I mean Costa Rica scored on Haiti yesterday. After they scored, everybody assumes Costa Rica is going to win, right? But I looked at the odds, and the odds for Haiti to win were 22-1. So I just put $1, and I said, oh, actually, I put $2. So I said, damn, for $2, I can win $44. Not bad. If they win, if they come back, and they almost scored. So I said, well, they're not going to get their ass beat because they don't feel they're not playing like they're scared. So I put $2, and I said, okay, well, that's if they win. So they got to score at least 2 goals and not get scored on because they're already losing 1-0. So I put the $2 and you get 44, and then I said, well, if you play what they call I think it was 10.5-1. If nothing changes, meaning if they lose, but they only lose by that 1 goal, then it's 10.5-1. If they come back and they tie it, I think it was 15-1. So I put $4 there. So it's like my $2, which were probably not going to pay off, could have gotten me 44. My $4 were going to get me at least 9. So now I'm betting $6, and I'll probably win 9. And then if they actually for the draw, I think I bet 10. So I lost track of myself. But my point is, I bet 16, and I could have won, win, lose, or draw, but they won. So I got the highest payout possible, which was 60. The lowest payout possible was 9 with my $6 bet. So the idea is to try to do a little bet, cover it with a medium bet, and then do a big bet to cover all the little bets. And the big bet is very likely to happen. The little bet has the highest growth potential, but is very unlikely to happen. But when you have odds of 40 to 1 or 22 to 1. My point is, if the odds are that big, you can afford to lose 22 times. And eventually, those 22 times, if you all you have to do is hit it off right 2 to 3 or 4 times in between to pay for those 22 bad bets because you're taking the long odds. If you play and you're betting on the favorite, you almost have to win that. It's do or die, because if you lose that money, it's over for you. You have to go back in your pocket to replenish that. But if you do it the opposite way, then you can keep trickling money in to gradually make it grow. And one mistake does not set you back. You can actually afford to make that mistake 22 times. So within 22 times, that's that just means you only have to be right 4% of the time. If you go on the favor, you have to be right 90% of the time. So I'd rather do the 4 with a little bit, because that goes further. So anyway, I'm rambling. Tell me if you think the video is too long. I'm over an hour now, hour and 3 minutes, but I touched on like 30 fucking topics. So if you average it out, it's 2 topics per minute. It's not too bad, I guess. But I'm all over the place. Originally, the first 2 episodes were 15 minutes apiece plus. This one's an hour. Should I make? I don't think I can do 5-minute videos and talk about what I want to talk about. I could do 5-minute videos and talk about my life, but it's not that interesting. I want to talk about longer videos to talk about how you can make $1 and how you can improve on things. And I think that should be more interesting. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. But if you think the video is too long, I don't mind you telling me, hey man, like 20 minutes is what it should be. That shit was way too long, and you're doing too much. 5 minutes is very short, but then that would be like those girls that do these little short videos. So today it was tough, but I'm going to be positive. Toxic people away. All positive vibes. Okay, guys, talk to you later. That's what a 5-minute video will give you. It's not really going to give you anything of any substance. So, but I think 20, 30-minute videos are good. Longer, maybe if we have guests, maybe the 1 hour was fine. I don't know. But that's pretty much it. Thank you, and talk to you later. Please let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe, and we will come back with some more topics next time. We'll recap on some of the boxing stuff that we talked about earlier. I will give you some more details on how the betting strategies I utilize are paying off, and I'll look up exactly what I did. That way, and I think I should probably have a chart or maybe some graphics, but that'll be on the next one. So thank you for listening. Larry Coyote out. Have a good one. Bye.